counter fairy. Interesting. Welcome back to OCG Thursday, baby. Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on some more excellent content. So first up, we have some interesting counter fairy for you guys. It's been a little while since we've actually seen something working on this. The old basic strategy behind this bad boy. Each time a counter trap card is activated immediately after it resolves, you're going to get to draw a card. Alright, so you stick Bountiful on the field. This is going to be your draw engine. And you're going to be slapping your opponent around with those very, very, very good counter trap cards. Basically allow you to win the game for essentially free. You got beautiful things like Rebirth of the Parshath over here. Give you the ability to special summon Parshath monsters from your extra deck. Which... special summon from the deck, which gives you access to Mr. Sacred Arch Air Knight Parshath here. So if you activate a counter trap card, or if you negate the activation of a spell, trap card, or monster effect, except during damage step, and banish up to 2 other fairy monsters from your hand, field, and or graveyard, special summon this card from your graveyard. If it was there when you activated or negated, or hand, even if it was not. If this card attacks a defense with this monster, inflict damage to your opponent. When this card inflicts damage to your opponent, you can add 1 Parshath card or 1 counter trap card from your deck to your hand. So we're going to get more searchability up and running off of this, which is actually pretty good. So we have 1 basic light barrier statue, in-house synergy with the archetype for light. Triple copies of Bountiful Artemis for our draw power. 2 copies of the Guiding Ariande. This will be our... So, cool thing with this is Pendulum Scale. You don't pay the cost for your counter trap cards. The other cool thing is if this thing is popped, you get to reveal 3 counter trap cards. Then you'll get to acquire 1 of them, which is actually really good. We have triple copies of Honest. We have 1 copy of the Minerva, Scholar of the Sky. Each time a counter trap card is activated immediately after it resolves, this card gains 500 attack. And if it does, and the Sanctuary Sky is on the field, you get to add a counter trap card from your graveyard to your hand. So we got Recursion here. Then we have triple Power Angel Valkyria. If you negate the activation of a spell trap card, add 1 light fairy monster from your deck to your hand. So we have more searchability here. This also can get us access to our Bountiful for the next turn. Alright, we have 2 copies of Sacred Mr. Air Arch Knight. This card's busted. Alright, then we have Trice Heracria. Man, this card is really good. So, during the main phase, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, quick effect, you contribute up to 3 fairy monsters. Special summon this card, but banish when it leaves the field. Then you can apply effects based on the following in sequence. So 2+, destroy 1 card your opponent controls. 3+, draw 2 cards. That's not always going to come up, but it is a mini draw engine resource that you can access. We also have triple copies of Card Demise. We are counter fairy. Triple copies of Pot of Extrav, of course. Then we have 2 copies of the Sanctum of Parshath. This card's name becomes Sanctuary in the Sky, but of course, while on the field or in the graveyard, fairy monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Spell traps cannot be negated, or cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And then once per turn, you can target a total of 3 fairy monsters and or counter trap cards with different names in the graveyard, and place them on the top of the deck in any order. So this actually lets us, you want to reload back up your good cards, you can. We have triple copies of Rebirth of Parshath, triple Solemn Judgment, triple copies of Solemn Strike, 2 Warning, and triple copies of Ultimate Providence. Extract here, we have triple copies of Lina, the Light Charmer Shining, triple copies of True King of All Calamities, another deck that has access to this. 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Utopia the Lightning, 1 Utopia Prime, 1 copy of Mr. Baguski, 1 Utopia, 1 Fairy Cheer Girl. Hey, did you guys know that you can detach 1 Exceed material to draw a card? It's actually pretty good. And then we have triple copies of Stardust. Alright, side deck here we have triple Max C, triple Drastic Drop Off, triple Starlight Road, triple Wiretap, and triple copies of Witch's Strike, wrapping up Counter Fairy for you guys. Next up, man, this is a nice little throwback here. We have some love for Gren Maju. Now, the interesting part about OCG Gren Maju is this deck looks a little bit more scarier. Also, because the OCG has 2 copies of Scapegoat, they actually will typically use this as a link climbing resource. So, in their slower format, Scapegoat actually is just free link climb fodder into free access machine. Mr. Access Code here will ruin days. Alright, outside of that, this very much feels like the TCG version, but of course they get access to the Vanity's Emptiness, so that's a thing. Alright, so we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of Eater of Millions, triple copies of Gizmecha the Serpentron, triple copies of Gren Maju, triple copies of Inspector Border, of course, you have to have the basic Denial card, and triple copies of Max C, because draw power. Alright, sometimes your opponent just is going to full combo on you. We also have 1 Feather Duster, triple copies of Desires, 1 singular Extrav, and then we have 2 copies of Prosperity. What an interesting loadout of draw power, actually. Then we have 2 copies of Scapegoat. Like I said, this card is absolutely busted. Alright, like, 1, it's kind of poop, but 2, this does do some free resource generation. We have triple copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device. Oh boy. Triple copies of Crackdown so we can steal the opponent's threats. 1 Imperial Order. Triple copies of Infinite Permanence. Triple copies of Solemn Judgment. And 1 copy of Vanity's Emptiness. Extra deck down here. We have 1 Security Dragon, 2 copies of Link Karibo, 1 Link Spider, 2 copies of Nightmare Unicorn, 2 copies of Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Boral Sword, and the 1 Access Code, with 2 copies of Ultimate Falcon, and 2 copies of Last Warrior from Another Planet. I love our Waking the Dragon targets. Side deck here we have 2 Alpha, 2 copies of Lancia, 1 Pankratops, 2 Nibiru, triple Lightning Storm, triple copies of Twin Twister, and 2 copies of Waking the Dragon. Wrapping up Gren Maju for you guys. This basically feels more like a stun deck than anything. Gren Maju is just going to be your basic beat stick. I'm still a little bit the 1 Extrav, by the way, but I mean, I guess there'd be some games where you just, obviously, like, you value the Desires more in this deck because it fuels up Mr. Gren Maju. We're also not using the Golden Castle card, so it literally is just more of a control-based aspect deck as opposed to anything else. And last but not least for you guys today, I wanted to talk about the list that's got Mr. Quandrax here. So 2 or more tuners plus 1 non-tuners. You're going to have to do 2 level 3s, or so forth, plus a non-tuner to make this, alright? If this card is synchro summon, you target any, or you target monster opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of synchro monsters used for the synchro material of this card and banish them. If a synchro summon card is destroyed by battle card effect, and target 1 banished monster, accept this card and special summon it to your field. So we get recursion loaded back on this, which is actually really freaking good, alright? So, floating power on a 3k body. Now this was something that we originally saw near the earlier days of the deck's life. A lot of builds had cut this, but it looks like the OCG is spinning back around at this point in time and giving this another shot. I love how we've gone full circle on this, which is interesting. Also, Virtual World in the OCG is a lot more scary because they get access to Crossout Designator. Chain Maxi to their full combo and they're like, nope. Alright, so we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of Maxi, triple copies of Nyan, triple copies of Lily, triple copies of Lulu, triple copies of Lau, and triple copies of Gigi. We are not playing the new one, alright? We have 2 copies of Call by the Grave, triple copies of Crossout Designator, 2 copies of Emergency Teleport, 1 Feather Duster, triple copies of Pot of Desires, 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent, just a 1-up, by the way, think about that. Triple copies of Kulan, triple copies of Quinklong, 2 copies of Chuchi, and then 1 copy of Zwan Wu. Then we have extra deck down here, we have 1 Fan, 2 copies of True Kingdom of Calamities, 1 Break Sword, 1 Thunder Charger, 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus, 1 Ptolemy 7, 1 Shen, 1 Geo, 1 Vermilion Dragon Mech, Stardust Charger, 1 copy of the Ravenous Draw Engine, 1 Quandrax, 1 Coral Dragon, and 1 copy of Cloud Castle. Side deck here, we have 2 Lancia, 2 Drone Lockbird, 2 Nibiru, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Lightning Storm, 2 Infinite Permanents, 1 Dynamiscus, 1 Red Reboot, and 1 copy of Skill Drain, wrapping up your chunk of OCG Thursday for everybody. So what do you guys think about these interesting decks? Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more excellent content. And of course, I look forward to reading you guys' comments down below. And I will see your beautiful faces back here later on in the day for some more cool, awesome content. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Peace. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCole40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCole40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcolegames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.